Great, 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 great. So I saw on YouTube a well-established doctor of double bass teaching people how to play Lieutenant Kije. It was quite interesting. A few points he had was that the suite, the orchestral suite, was originally for a film score with a baritone, and the baritone was singing the bass part originally. Later on, the composer was commissioned. I believe it was Prokofiev, right? I think it was Prokofiev. He was commissioned to change the film score into an orchestral suite. So everything had to go from singers to orchestra. And he chose the double bass to replace the baritone. So I thought that was interesting. Now, when it comes to the orchestral suite, here's something that, I suggest that isn't really suggested too often because it's really a little untraditional, surprisingly. So when you learn about an orchestral thing for bass, you learn about the bowings and the strokes and all that stuff, which is cool. But for orchestral solos like Mahler 1 and Lieutenant Kije, we tend to forget the whole point of. So the important thing is to sound like the singer, right? Because Lieutenant Kije is supposed to be for baritone. Not once in my career or being a student in school has it ever been suggested that we play Lieutenant Kije like a singer. Even the person on YouTube who suggested that it was originally for baritone never really talked about how we play the bass solo like a singer. So it's very surprising, actually. So one way of going about it is instead of just, playing it, like kind of like manufacture with all the, the technique and like, I'm in solo tuning, by the way, so it's going to be a whole step higher. That's great and all, and it'll probably get you into music school, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make you wow the audience. That just like this, the bar is, I personally believe the bar is kind of set low for this kind of stuff, and it's just not enough to play it like, technically wise. So I suggest maybe hearing it as a singer and then replicating it for the bass. And for those of you who've been in my class, I say this over and over and over. So this is probably the 15th time you heard this already, which is why it's so important. So rather than just playing it normally, I suggest, and I'm trying to do my best to sound like a baritone, which is what it was originally meant to be for. So a question for you guys who are listening. What do you think about that? In your experience, has anybody really talked about the backstory behind Lieutenant Kije, first of all? Or is it like when you've studied this in school or for a teacher, do they just say, okay, here's a solo that'll get you into an orchestra. Let's just play it. Here are the bowings, and here is the technique. So, in your experience, what have other teachers talked about for this particular solo? Does anybody have any ideas or any experience with that?
I actually played this. I played the solo for solo and ensemble in 7th grade. And that was when I was like just starting bass. So yeah, my teacher is basically like, sing it out because it's like a solo. So he didn't. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So he said, "Sing it out," right?
Yeah.
Boom. There you go. Anybody else? That's great. Here's some piano back there.
I have a question.
Sure.
You said to sing like the baritone, but how would you combine like to sound like a baritone but still keep the flavor of a double bass still there?
Well,
to combine both of those, I guess.
That's an interesting question. I mean, really, the way I think about it, Aaron, is the bass is just a tool, really, to sound like a singer. So I'd say let's really bring out the flavor of the singer and make it sound like the bass isn't being like. Let's make it sound like the stuff that's coming out of these F holes is pure singing, and that's the way I go about it. So I mean, it's a little different than what you might expect. But does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you typically hear like, okay, thumb position, okay, shift, pivot up, and then okay, and then they talk about the bowing, okay, up, down bow. But I don't know, man. I feel like the important thing is just to make it sing, and to make that human connection. Again, it's not really expected to sound like a singer. For auditions, which is why, I mean, that's cool or whatnot, but I think we can guarantee that spot in that, that next audition or, for that performance with an orchestra. And we can really make the audience go crazy and really impress the conductor because that's not really what's expected. So moving on to the Mahler 1. This is another one. For some reason, the Mahler 1 is one of the most difficult passages for bass, and I'm still trying to figure out why. Till this day, I mean, everybody these days are playing Bach cello suites. I hear people play the Sixth Suite. I hear Prokofiev violin concerto played on bass. Attempted. I haven't actually heard it played, well, but everybody's playing on these really crazy things. But when it comes to like a piece with like 12 or like 20 notes, this is hard. I don't know. And I've heard stories of people playing it and just messing up and then people walk from that concert and they ask you is the Mahler 1 that hard? And I'm like, nah, it's not that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. So we're really, honestly, I think the problem with Mahler 1 is we get so nervous when we're playing the solo that we make it a bigger deal than it really has to be. So, and I think the problem is I try to make it, the idea is simple, right? Like the Lieutenant Kije, to sing it first, right? But the most important thing is to think about the feeling that I'm trying to transmit from me to the audience. That's all I'm really thinking about here. I'm not thinking about calculating the shift. That really makes us really nervous when we're thinking too much about the technique and making everything come into place like a Rubik's Cube. That really occupies our mind so much where we're not able to think about the whole point, about the emotion, about the music. And then when we hear the solo played during an orchestra concert, we're like, wow, that really sounds manufactured. I mean, he played the notes right. I mean, he might have played something out of tune here and there, but it was a good try. I really honestly don't really know how to play like that because that's just not how I was brought up playing. It was all about emotion. So I can't really empathize with the okay, pivot this way, that, so I don't know. But I know that what I see out there, that's kind of how it is. So any questions about the Mahler 1? I mean, I know we all came here to mostly play our own pieces, but I know some of you have requests. So anybody have any questions about that? Is that pretty clear, or did I miss anything?
I actually have a question about the bass solo.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, been here a few times.
So for auditions, I know because I know that it's supposed to be a muted bass solo.
Right.
Is there like in auditions versus concert settings, do you have any preferences for how you do it? Either rubber mute, ebony mute, no mute?
I only had experience playing with a rubber mute, but that's a question that I think will be for the conductor, really. I mean, sometimes they'll have you play without a mute because the bass doesn't really project that well compared to like the violin or the cello. So that's really a question I think that the conductor can give you. So.
Okay. What do you think about for auditions? What should we do?
Really, I think you should just ask. They should tell you. But as far as the quality of mute, I really don't think it matters. As long as you have a mute and you remember to show up with a mute, that's really all. You know, and if you audition, like if I were a teacher at a music school and you audition without a mute, I'm gonna be like, oh, get this guy, gotta kick him out now because he'll come with a mute. No, I don't think that would be a big deal. As long as you show that you can play the Mahler very calmly without any, making it overcomplicated. I think it'll be great. So, okay. Yeah. Anybody else? All right. Now that we're done with that, let's go to the people who want to play. So, in your chat, hold on, there's a question. I had to do this, Jordan B said, I had to do this extra for Bass Studio. My teacher actually did talk about the backstory and play it like, oh, great. Jordan, you got lucky, man. You got lucky. So in the chat, say yes, type yes if you're going to play something. And maybe type excellent. And then, actually, it doesn't really matter where you're going to play. I really don't, it don't really matter. So we have Nicholas, we have Aaron. Anybody else want to play something? Type yes in the chat. We have Rolling, Daniel. Aaron has to get his bass. Now, that's very important. If it's anything I can recommend is that you get your bass before you play the bass. I should put this on YouTube. Yes times 2. Giselle's going to play a duo. All right. Anybody else? Is that it? We also have someone who sent a video. And, all right. Oh, yeah. Logan. His American name is Logan, but his real name is Jung-Hoo Lee. I hope I said that right. Okay. All right. So since Logan, aka Jung-Hoo Lee, sent me his video. Get this thing. Zoom in. He sent me his video very early. I'm gonna play his video and I'll talk about that. So I'm gonna do a screen share. Let's see. And let me know if you can see this. Oh, okay, here it is. So does everybody see Logan with his bass right now? And I can't see the chat during the screen share. So if anybody can say anything, that'll be great.
Yeah, you're good.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, here it is. He's going to play the Bach Third Beret, number 1 and number 2 for double bass. So I'm assuming both parts. Let it rip. Logan. That was awesome. All right, let me go back to the meeting. Does everybody see me again? Am I here? All right, Logan. So a few words about that. Get my bass out. The funny thing is, I have never, I've worked on this here and there, the Borang, but I've never really played it in like a recital or anything. But to approach, like when I approach Bach with anything, it's the same kind of idea, which is thinking about musical ideas and then transmitting that through the bass. So when I heard Logan, what was a very nice presentation of how to play the Bach on the bass, but I didn't really hear many ideas, right? So when I was listening to that, I was kind of listening for some interesting things, or my impression was that it was in tune. You know, there were some spots in the second part, or we can talk about fingering wise down there, but it was basically in tune, but it didn't have that special sauce to it. And I think that's what I'll talk about here. Which is how to bring that out, these musical ideas, and what I mean by that. So, so there's many ways to approach the Bach cello suites. I mean, you could go the full Baroque way and do the Baroque bow thing, where you know, or you could do it a romantic way. You know, the way I personally like is the best way is when it's very clear the kind of ideas we're trying to what's the word, to communicate. So whether you're doing romantic or super Baroque or anything else, it really doesn't matter to me, and I don't think it really matters to an audition committee. Well, first of all, for some auditions committee, this will be good enough, okay? But if we want to really take it higher, and if I were in an audition committee, I really want to hear clear ideas. So this, what I just played was an idea. So that was kind of like the two parts going on, two contrasting parts. Da-da-dum, softer, la-da-dum, da-da-dum, right? That's an idea already, and that is something people catch on to. And that's like, oh, okay, interesting. He was like, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, and then, okay. So there's a lot going on there, and my thing is, my job is to really make it so it's understandable what I'm trying to communicate, right? So rather than just playing it, what we typically hear for an audition is. Why not? And I haven't played this in like 5 years, right? But what makes it sound easy and understandable is I'm really focusing on first what idea I'm trying to communicate, and then really doing it with the bass and the bow. So does anybody have any questions about that? Logan?
Hello. This is Logan. Hi.
Wait,
So,
did you change your name from?
huh? No, my real name is Jungho, but
Oh, there's two Logans in here.
oh, that's because I changed from computer to phone because I had to do something on my computer. But
Okay, so not to be confused, there's actually a Logan in this room, but there's Jung Ho, whose American name is Logan. So I apologize if I confused anybody here. Logan Lee, I'll call you Logan Lee because your last name's Logan. So what were your thoughts about that?
so my teacher is Dr. Suleiman. He mentioned how when I played Bach, it should be like he mentioned that one time like the tempo should be consistent because this song was actually used back in the day for like dancing, I heard.
Of course.
So that's why I tried to be like consistent as possible instead of like showing much expression sort of.
Sure.
Or like but yeah, you talked about how like you should always show like different like expressions, which means like a lot of different tempos, changing tempos and such that. So or like
yeah, I mean, you can still be consistent and have all of these ideas. So let me play this again. You know, I don't know if you noticed, but I was dancing to that, and I think if we were to have actual expert dancers on the floor right now, would you think they could dance to that? I mean, I was trying to be pretty clear with where to put this. So, what do you think about that, Logan Lee?
yeah, I think yeah.
I
Sounds
would
good.
like to add something.
Sorry, who else was that?
It's Daniel. I would like to add something.
Sure.
As I have a bit of experience with this. I think it's important to also remember that this idea of consistency is also rather modern. And as you were going to say, the dance needs to have a certain feeling into it. And the Baroque dances are dances of gestures. And hence your gesture, those little gestures actually were signifying how to move. There was bowing, and in general, I think I guess most of you guys are classical musicians, but it's really important not to stick to the page because the music is not in the page. So this idea of consistency, visual connected to the sheet of music, we should always leave some percent of these gestures, expression, and I think that will help. Just that thought would help you just to play, and it can be still metronomical, like you said, if it's important for your teacher, but you still keep something in the gesture. That's it. That's what I have to say.
Daniel, you couldn't have said it better. The important word he used here was gestures, and I'm gonna write that down. I don't know if I spelled beret. I know I spelled that wrong. I apologize. But Daniel, before you turn your mic off, tell us where you're from, because you have an interesting background.
Just turning because there's some noise, so I don't want to interrupt.
And I see some instruments. I see some instruments in your background. What are those? But tell us where you're from and like what are those instruments in the background?
I have a small collection of instruments. I am a bit. It's a bit weird story. I'm born in Mexico.
Okay.
Grew up in Israel, and now I live in Eastern Europe, in Serbia. And I also studied. I studied in Israel and also in Switzerland. And I also studied with a Baroque teacher, part of my studies. David Sinclair, I don't know if you guys know, he's Canadian, but he's more active in Europe in the last 20 years. And also I come from jazz background, a kind of mixed up background. So that's why I am personally a bit, how to say it, I'm not like a full-on classical player. I'm outsider to this world, actually. But
I wouldn't say that.
huh?
I wouldn't say that. Come on, man.
No, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's actually was good for me, but I really could see some things that are missing in. And I mean, I can do a whole lecture about this theory, how things, but it's just the fact is that we are dealing with music that we don't have an oral trace of it. There are some things that exist that show, but I have a feeling, and it's very much evident in Xavier's playing, that it needs to be alive. And I attended many concerts, and I played in orchestras, and this kind of approach, it's so much into this graphic, those lines. And later I can also send some links. There are early recordings from beginning of century that play totally different. I mean,
Send me those links.
I would send you. There's very interesting examples in piano, in violin.
Awesome. Now, for time's sake, Dang, I don't want to cut you off. For time's sake, I want to move on to the other players. Tell us what that instrument is. That interesting instrument is back there. That doesn't look like a ukulele.
I can show you quickly a more interesting one. It's a ukulele and a little.
Yeah. What is that? What is it?
The little one is a Greek instrument, but I have this here, which is Moroccan bass.
What?
And it has gut strings.
Dude.
And if I'm already at it, I can show you.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna move on, but yeah, that's really cool. I'm gonna look at the Moroccan bass, man.
I can
That's
send
sick.
some links later for you guys to check out some.
Yeah, I want to hear a Moroccan bass solo for me. Send me that Moroccan bass solo. Let's move on to Giselle and the Giselle duo. It looks like they're really ready to play, and they're let's go to that duo. What are you guys playing? Make sure your mic is on. I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. We're actually gonna play two separate things. I was gonna play the first page of Bottesini too, and he was
Awesome.
gonna play the
Grande Allegro,
Yeah.
Allemandelsson.
The what? The Allemande?
The Bottesini, Grande Allegro, Allemandelsson. I'll just do like the first two pages of that.
Should take 5. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that, man. All right, so
Yeah.
let's hear the Bottesini first, and then let's go to the other Bottesini.
Okay.
Allemande.
I was. Oh, okay.
Dude, Giselle, hold on a second. Give me one. So, are you using a computer right now, or are you using a phone?
An iPad.
Okay. I don't know how it works on an iPad, but there's an option to turn on original sound, which I forgot to do myself. I'm gonna just turn that on. But is there a way you could turn on the option that's for original sound? Because what's happening is your program is it's cutting out the reverb in your room, and it cancels out the bass. It's a very unfortunate, but I think there's an option
Oh.
to do that.
I don't think it's on.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out either. Last time I was with Xavier.
Sound settings.
Oh man.
I think we would have to switch to a computer to make
Yeah, we could switch to a computer.
And you can
Actually, yeah,
just
just
come
like
back to us later.
yeah, somebody else could play first, and
Yeah, I think
then
that'll be the best option. It seems like
okay, yeah.
Um,
Donate your mom's house.
I know there's some other folks like Aaron who has Aaron's using an are you using an iPad, Aaron?
Yeah, but I could switch to a computer if you want to.
Yeah, I think honestly that'd be best. I don't know why Zoom has not figured out how to turn the original sound option for iPad, but that's one of the important things for music because it'll start canceling out sound. So
So maybe if Nick wants to play, I can go get my laptop.
Nick, is Nick here?
Yep. I don't think it has an option on the phone. But
Dang, man.
I have a computer
Zoom.
right here.
And does anybody have a computer who can turn that original sound option on?
I'm on a Chromebook,
Well,
but
yeah.
I don't see where the settings would be. Like in the Zoom settings, there's only 3 options for audio, and it's just when to mute and unmute.
Can you go to advanced? Is there an advanced button?
Not directly on Zoom.
It's in preferences.
Yes, please. If anybody knows.
Go to the top. Go to the top Zoom on the upper left, and click on preferences. It'll open a screen.
I don't have that even. I don't know. There isn't anything like that on my Chromebook.
No advanced option whatsoever. Nothing.
I think in audio settings, there is automatically adjust volume. I think that it does this like noise cancellating, which actually closes the sound because it recognizes like there is a very big sound coming in. So I think that it could help.
It's time to boycott Zoom. It's time to boycott Zoom. This isn't right. This isn't right.
If you go into the Zoom setting though, even when you're off, you can preset it so it never turns back on again. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I never.
So that in the upper left, like if you're on an iMac or something like that, click on click on preferences. It'll open a second screen, and then click on audio. And then from audio, click on advanced, bottom right side.
So for those of you who have a setup like me, I'm gonna do a screen share of what I see. Okay, that doesn't work. Stop sharing. So I can't share my own Zoom page. So I can't actually show people. That's unfortunate.
I wonder if I can.
I'm switching to my computer now. Could you let me in the room?
Yeah, you're in.
And oh, now we are. Okay.
Original sound?
Yeah, turn original sound on.
Oh my gosh. Hold on, audio.
Yes. Go to audio, advanced audio
Oh,
settings.
this is heavy. It's not gonna stay.
Advanced audio settings.
And then type the advanced button. That's like the bottom right when you click audio.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then once you close out of that, there should be a button that says turn original sound on.
Yeah, I don't see anything. Restore defaults? That's all I see.
No, there's a check. Oh my god, how do I?
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Okay, you got it. Dude, I wish
it was right in
there
front of
was
me.
a way to screen share this because okay, so we have Giselle and we have Aaron with original sound. Now we'll start with Giselle and Bottesini, and this time it should work out. if anybody
I'm trying to
can-
figure out a way to put my computer so it isn't like so it can show us. But
Oh damn.
Yeah, our stand's a little flimsy, so the computer it can't really handle the weight of the computer right now.
Ooh.
I'm ready to play.
okay,
Who's
yeah,
ready?
I can do that.
Daniel, I think in the meantime, while people setting up, I can play a bit.
Okay, who's ready? Who's ready to play with original sound? Aaron? Go for it, Aaron.
Daniel. I mean, I did have a sound card, and I think I.
Daniel, if you want to go first, you can go first.
Aaron, go first. Daniel's next, and then Giselle.
All right, let me just pull up my music. I'm gonna be playing the exposition to the Von Hall Concerto.
Awesome. And your sound is much better, by the way.
Is it? Oh my gosh.
The stupid Zoom thing trying to cancel out sound. I don't get it, but you know, it's whatever.
Bass Concerto. Von Hall. Here we go.
All right, Aaron, I'm gonna stop you right there.
Too fast, right?
You took the words straight out of my mouth.
I can try again slower.
Remember what we talked about last time?
Yeah, the thing.
How many seconds?
15.
It sounded like you just gunned it, man, and you didn't spend any time thinking about what you were going to do.
Okay.
And we had a group lesson with Aaron, and we talked about how preparing for the performance can really make or break a performance. When we play an audition or recital, and we play the first piece, what tends to happen is we just go for it. We don't really think about what's going on, and we get really nervous because we don't have that sound in our head that we're playing off of. And so the 15-second rule allows us to really think about the ideas in the sound that we're trying to transmit through the bass, like I talked about. So I think what Aaron can do now is to spend maybe 5 to 10 seconds thinking about the entrance, thinking about the emotions you're trying to convey to the audience, because we can feel what you're feeling. And what I felt nervous, and I felt like my blood pressure went up like 3 times, man, because that's what I felt like you were feeling. So if you feel like, you know, a grand opening king or whatever it is that you're trying to convey, we can feel it too. So really think about that. Take 5 to 10 seconds, and after you're done, round 2. All right, man. Let's stop there. So Aaron, it was better again, but I'm still trying to get you to make sure that the first time you played, right? This was the second time, and then it got better because you were able to, really think about what you're doing. You took more time. It was more freedom. But it's always that first time that really matters. It's the only time it really matters. And so I'm trying to get you to maybe the next time for that first time we walk out on stage to really own it, to nail it, man. That's the trick, man. And so don't forget that. I just hear some things, where maybe you're missing notes here and there. But I think the more practice you do, the more you get it, and I think you're on the right track with that. But it's really, man, the thing for you is the preparation before playing it. I can feel the nerves because you're feeling the nerves. And just some guy, just some guru on the internet I learned from. It's called the law of state transference. Well, we can feel what you feel, right? When you feel something, I feel it. It doesn't matter if you're playing bass, violin, cello, oboe, piccolo. If you feel something, then I'll feel it. So let's remember that. I think I'll stop there, Aaron, for time's sake. Thanks. Do you have any questions about the Van Hall, Aaron?
Questions. Well, yeah, all the questions I basically asked you earlier, like going up the octave for the ascending part.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to work on getting that higher octave one down.
So who here has played the Van Hall before? The first movement. Anybody else? Okay, so I just want to ask if anybody else took that up a notch, but it appears that you're the only one here. Daniel, do you no?
I think there are many parts that can be played very nicely in the lower register, and I think it also helps very much just to know it, play it all in the lower register, and then it will help you. And I think also part of the beauty of bass is to not always run for these high things. It's actually in many cases much more impressive to get a really nice low tone and the melody, or in the middle register, for example. I think it in this concerto suits some places better. Actually, this forcing that higher octave is sometimes not working musically better. It's maybe in imagination of bass players, you think that someone is getting impressed, but usually not.
Derry has a good point there. And I talk about a lot of this too. Basically, I would try it, Aaron, the higher octave. I try it as an alternative, but Daniel brings up a good point. We have a lot of bass players out there who are playing music, changing things intentionally just to sound impressive. And not all the time, but most of the time, what ends up happening is it's so technically challenging that they don't really focus on the music, and they end up messing up. Let's just say it like that, man. It's so hard, I guess. But for me, it fits me well. I like it, and and if you work on it, if you can sell it, great. But the whole idea is as long as you can play something really well, that's what really matters. I don't want you to do it, and from my experience, I don't want you to do it just because I said it or because it's something that's flashy, but rather as an alternative of the lower part. Maybe you want to do it because it projects more with the higher register. If you're thinking about it that way, yeah, sure. Maybe you want to do it because you actually like going up and you want the audience to hear a scale going up continuously. That's the reason why. But what Dale was saying is to make sure not to get caught up in the desire, like some of these other bass players, to just be flashy and not really sound good, right? And it doesn't even sound flashy at the end of the day, because it's like, oh, okay, he tried something, that's, and that happened. Yeah, I guess. So, yeah, good point, Daniel. Any other input from other bass players who have played the Van Hall, or?
My teacher played it and he said to take it up the octave.
Okay, yeah, I mean, try it. If it works, man. And, hold on, I got some people in it. As you move up the fingerboard, the bow should get closer to the bridge. Also for articulation, speaks better closer to the bridge. Yep, true. Absolutely. Thanks, Skipward. Both try it to bow the placement of the note you're playing thumb. Awesome. Cool. So great. Thanks, everybody who had things to say about the Van Hall. I think we'll move on to Giselle. Have you figured out your situation there?
Yeah, let me, hold on 1 second. Turn on, okay. Can you tell me if it's working?
Yeah, it's so many pixels on my screen. That's because the lighting in your room is very low. And I tell you what, if I could just send you one of these, you'd be good to go. This is a lighting. I have two of these and I have one main one on my ceiling.
Is that better?
Lighting. So
is that any better?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Okay, how's the audio? Like.
Oh, the audio's great. I can hear the original sound.
Perfect.
Yeah. This is great.
There we go.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay, I'm gonna start over. Yeah.
More? Is that it?
I think, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
So what happened? What happened the first time you tried it? You had to restart, didn't you?
Yeah. I think I was just nervous and I played it badly. But I also just put like a bunch of rosin on my bow and I made like my playing sound super like crunchy and I got like nervous because of it.
Gotcha. Did you hear what me and Aaron were talking about before?
Yeah.
It's like the first time is the only time it matters.
Yeah.
It's the only time it matters. You know what I do when I was in school at Curtis? When I prepare for a competition, I always knew that I only had one shot on stage, one shot, and that was the only shot, and that's the only thing that really people cared about.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had this tendency to walk into bass class with Edgar Meyer, who's a very well-known bass player. I get nervous because it's Edgar and all the other students there who are very high, high quality. Rex Serenade was there, Nate West, all these bass players that I went to school with. And my solution was to wake up every day in the morning and make sure it was like 5 or 6 a.m. where like I'm barely awake and I don't have, and don't warm up at all. And at that moment, that was the moment where I was simulating of me playing it for the first time. Because when you're about to perform, you don't really, maybe you're talking to like donors or something, or you're doing an interview before, and you're not in that mindset, and you're not like warming up before. So as a suggestion for all of you, if you just wake up, I mean, you don't have to wake up so early, but 6 a.m. in the morning and play, that simulates when you're playing for the first time. And then the whole idea is to get really good at the first time. So I'm going to make a bet, Giselle, that if you play this again, it's going to sound better. I mean, I know it will. I just know it will, but that's like not, I'm trying to get people to play it the first time.
Yeah, no.
That's the thing. So,
It's really bad. My hands had like rosin on them and they were super sticky and I don't even know.
But once you try again,
Okay.
And Giselle, this time, before you play, think about what you're going to play first. So what I mean by that, is do this in your head, but when I'm going to sing what I see in my head, which is sorry. And then, when you're about to play, what tends to happen is you try to play what you sing, because you have something to play off of, and it just becomes like magic, So once you try that, in your voice, whatever it is, or however you want to imagine it, and then try to play off of what you've envisioned first.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, great. Let me stop you there. That was great. Your rhythm was great. It was much better. It seemed like you were focusing more on the music this time. That's what I told Aaron from our last group plus lesson. That's the same thing that happened with him. Here's a challenge for you. Again, take 5 to 10 seconds and think of another way to play that entrance.
Okay. Okay.
What did you do differently this time? What did you hear in your head this time that was different? Because I didn't hear too much of a difference.
I tried making the like staccato notes shorter and like sort of tapering off on the long tied notes a little bit more.
So here's what I was trying to get at here. Let me get my bass out. There's a violinist named Kije Zuckerman who has a unique sound, and the way he plays is much different than Joshua Bell or, Hilary Hahn. They all have their distinct ways of playing a concerto. One tends to be more academic and more accurate, and that's the way of playing it. One tends to be more expressive, and that's another way of going about it. So as an example, right? So as an example, what I was trying to say is like, when I said think of a different way to play it, maybe think about, okay, this time I'm going to play it more melodic. I don't know, maybe more low key or something like that. So this is how I would never play. This is not me. This is not my personality, but it's a way of going about it. So I hear the sound in my head. So that's not how I never play like that, but that's another way of playing it, because I envisioned something where I was like, okay, I'm going to sound more laid back, more reserved, more classy, I guess. The way I play is different, and this is what I identify with, because I like to express. That's kind of why I play bass in the first place, to express emotion. There's a lot going on. It's a lot of appassionata. Maybe I'll sound like a journeyman this time and be more like dum, da, 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 dee, da. But the whole idea is I'm thinking of a sound that I'm trying to communicate with you, What you were telling me was I was trying to, this is exactly what you said, and think about it. And think about if this was really answering my question or not. From what you sing. What you said was, I play more staccato. Okay? What does that mean?
Yeah.
As far as expressing like an idea, what does that mean? And what I hear is, I just hear some technical things, I don't know. It's like saying, I don't know. I can't think of a metaphor, but I think you get what I'm saying. Now, Giselle,
Yeah.
Let's try this again. I think you get what I'm saying here, right? As far as the yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
So try it again and really think about another way of. Aaron, Aaron, you're funny. Yeah, so think of something. 5 to 10 seconds. Think of that voice. Think of that unique personality that you're trying to convey. Okay, stop. Now, what emotion were you trying to communicate that you thought of? Or what were you trying to say to us?
I was thinking more like grand, but I don't think I achieved that very well.
I'll be honest, I didn't really hear grand. But if that was what you were trying to do, maybe it really depends what grand means to you. For me, it means expansive, and maybe taking it at a slower tempo,
Mm-hmm.
and more boldness with these shows. Bom, 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 dee, dee. That really opens up the sound. So let's just try it again and make it sound grand. this is something that doesn't happen overnight. As I tell everybody, it takes practice to really tap into that imagination and the ability to translate what you hear in your head to your playing. That takes practice, right? So I think you're on the right track. But what I'm trying to do is, rather than just playing it very nice and perfectly, that only gets us to a certain level, you know. And like I say, that will probably get you past auditions, right? Because that's basically what we're looking for: is can you play this or not? But what I'm trying to get everybody in these bass classes and lessons is I'm trying to get it to that a step above. I'm trying to get players to communicate emotionally to the listener.
Yeah.
And that's like the difference is like when I go to a concert where someone speaks to me emotionally, I can actually feel like my heart beat. I can feel like my stomach getting tense at certain portions. At some times when I'm listening to somebody, I feel like I'm crying, or that's what I'm trying to get everybody to do, is to change people's emotions. I want people to manipulate people's emotions so they never forget what they just experienced. I want people to put on one of the greatest concerts of all time. And that's what I believe personally, that's the way to do it. To draw out these emotions. And the first step, and that's what you're doing, Giselle, is you're thinking about these emotions. You're thinking about these ideas, perhaps for the first time. I don't know. But I think you're on the right track. I mean, just start, maybe when you're playing, just start thinking about, okay, what's the emotion? How I'm going to make people feel? Am I going to make someone cry at measure 5? Am I going to make someone float at the high part? Am I going to stop time at that climax? And then make people go up in the edge of the chair and be like, wow, what the, you know? Trying the next step, the next level. That's what I'm trying to do here. So,
Yeah.
Is there any other questions you had about that, Giselle?
No, I think it's, yeah, I think it's good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great performance. I mean, it sounded great. I'm just trying to push you to the next, the next step, All right, next is Daniel, I believe, and then we'll get to Nick. Daniel, are you there?
Yes.
Wait. No. Sorry, Daniel. I was going to get to Giselle. What's your name?
My name's Remy.
Rennie. We're going to get to Rennie. Sorry about that. I didn't see you there, so I forgot.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was standing on the side.
Gotcha. So you're playing this Mendelssohn. A la Mendelssohn.
Yeah. Grande Allegro.
So this would be
All
interesting.
Right.
I believe
yeah, so I'm going to play...
like in Mendelssohn, like in Italian or something.
Yeah. There's a lot of parts of the piece that sound a lot like the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto, which is why.
Aha!
Yeah, but we're not, a lot of those parts I'm not going to cover. I'm just going to do, I think, I'll do the first 2 pages.
Okay.
page.
Yeah, that was definitely Mendelssohn Volume right there. Yeah, that's yeah. So the thing about Bottesini was I feel like this guy was just jealous that these violin players had this really cool route, and this was his way of saying, "Hey, bass players can play that kind of stuff too." You know. So about this one, I like how you were moving with the gestures. Now, I'm trying to think. Again, it's great. Seems like everybody has good technique these days, but I still wasn't quite clear what you were trying to say emotionally, right? Again, it's great. It'll get you in the conservatory, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make people's jaws drop. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to go past that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's an idea for you. Oh. So I don't know the piece. This is the first time I heard it. But because it sounds like Mendelssohn, I can try to play some of that to suggest what I'm trying to get at. So let me find a hole in my floor. Right. Okay, here we go. So it's one thing to play, right? I don't know this piece, but I know it's based on the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto. This is what I heard. So this part here, let's take this part for example. Right? So what I'm doing here is I'm taking like one bar of music, and I'm doing a lot of work trying to think of what in the world am I trying to communicate with this one bar. And then I'm trying to do that for every single bar, where every single second is pure value. Right? So it sounds like the first part of that is that whoever it is saying something for the first time, but the listener didn't get it. So he says it the second time, or she. So he takes it down like a half step. It sounds like a dissonance. That's a harmonic dissonance. So it sounds like a disagreement, because that's a dissonance. It's like sounds great, but sounds like, and I'm trying to bring that out. I'm trying to honor what the composer was trying to write there. And that's why he probably wrote the dissonance there, Mendelssohn, is to make it so you hear that stress. And then he goes back, so I really bring that out. It kind of sounds Japanese. Sounds meditative. I don't know. That's so there's a lot going on there. You know, there's a lot of drama going on there. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the audience to feel these emotions going through their head like a drama. Isn't that what drama is? So maybe when you play it, it says Giselle, you're not. I keep wanting to call you Giselle, but you're not. What's your name again?
Remy.
Remy. What's that? N?
Sorry? Oh, with an M.
Remy. So when you play it, this a la Mendelssohn, you can think about, like Giselle, I was talking about, the first few bars. And really think about this emotion that you're trying to convey. Well, I'm going to actually listen to you play the first few bars to see harmonically what's going on there and give you some suggestions. But think about, you too, think about harmonically what's going on. Think about, like, you know, all these things that I've talked about before. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you want me
one
to
thing
keep
to
it
take
going?
away from this, and then we're going to go to the next person, but it's the gestures. I mean, I kind of got what's going on with the music. I mean, I need to hear the piano accompaniment as well. But so are you in solo tuning or orchestral?
I am in solo tuning.
I don't know if that's the music, but there's a lot of gestures here that kind of go like this. If you really bring that out, that's great. And then when you ended the, which I compliment you, it's a great idea. You really ended that phrase, and it was really clear that that's what you were doing. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
I understood what you were doing there. So if you keep doing that for the whole piece, for every single measure, if I can understand what you're trying to do, then I think we've gone pretty far. So thanks, Remy.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome, man. Good luck with that. Daniel and then Nick.
I would like to make one remark to everybody, and also maybe try to help Xavier to express his idea. I see that one thing that is very lacking in everyone's playing, and I must say that you all guys are very young, very talented, and you're playing things that I just started to play way after you, and it's amazing that I wish I could have played at your age this music. But I see a big lack of breathing, and this connects to the two main problems that we saw today. One was the nervousness before playing. Breathing is the answer for that. And the other thing for these phrasing ideas and for this emotion, so we have to understand that in breath is the most fundamental thing, the rhythm in our body, also the heart, that is always, it's nonstop all day. And a good guide for building a phrase, especially in the first excerpt with the singing, is breathing. You have to imagine where is the breathing point, and you also have to breathe. And I see you guys that have good technique, you can play things good, but you don't breathe. And you don't allow the musical phrases to breathe, and you, in general, sound like you could really use a couple of breaths before and during playing. And I'm saying this really because just that is going to improve your playing immediately without much effort. Just pay attention to your breath and use it also to calm down the nerves, but also to guide you in building phrases and connecting the musical part, because in the end it is singing. That's what Xavier is trying to say the whole time. We can hear that you're not singing because you are thinking about it without the breath. You're thinking about how the page is written, where is the page maybe turning, and where is that passage that okay, I have it until here. Put on these breathing glasses when you're breathe it, and that is what I wanted to share with you.
Thanks, Daniel. Are you playing something too, or you want to?
I can also play if nobody, let's say, to put me last on the round.
Well, you want to go with Nick first, and then you.
That's fine by me. If somebody is eager, then you can please go.
Let's hear Nick first, because we have a lesson too coming up. I want to hear what I'm dealing with, and then
cool.
Maybe we'll hear some rock and bass. I'm just playing, man. So Nick, what are you going to play?
I'm going to play a third movement of Battistini. You can stop me whenever, because time or whatever.
Sure, go for it, man.
Sorry.
What happened, man? That first time.
Yeah. I usually start on an up bow, but there's a down bow in the music, and that messed me up.
Bro, look, the boy don't matter, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's try this, okay? Like I've been saying with everybody else, let's take 5 seconds. And I think it doesn't even matter now, but even when you're doing another, because I know you compete a lot, Nick. I've seen your Facebook. When you're doing a competition or an audition, people love it when you take a breath. People love it to see it. It looks awesome when we see someone come out on stage and then think, and then play. That just looks good on stage. It just makes it look like you're really paying attention to what you're about to play. It just sounded like it just looked like you're just going for it, which is great. Maybe not so great, actually. But let's try this again and take some time. there, Nick. That second time you play it was so much better. I just wish that was the first time.
Yeah.
But I was hearing some ideas coming through that mind of yours. For example, this one. You know, are you in solo tuning? That build up to there was very clear. I'm trying to think of any other ideas I heard. At the beginning, that's really the only, that's the one I remember. And see, this is the thing. Like, I'm human just like everybody else. But when I hear something that really changes how I feel, I remember it. And that's the one part where it was so clear what you were trying to do. So here's something to think about. Here's some ideas that you might be able to use. All right, these aren't copyright, by the way. So in the beginning, what I try to do, idea-wise, is I'll try to make what I'm playing in the beginning sound like a slip, like you're slipping on a banana. So like that's one thing. Like when people hear that for the first time, oh, interesting. I'm trying to make people feel this. And then contrast. Like, same concept though with that slide. Light, heavy. And then very reserved here, conservative. Bring out that dissonance. Recover. And then back to the beginning. And then what you were doing here, I was very impressed with because it was clear. And then, right, falling motion. That's why I do a slide down there. Boom! I do a little pitch to make the. So that's just a few ideas you can use. But I encourage you to come up with your own ideas. But at the end of the day, that one part with the build-up was great. So I'm hoping that for the rest of the piece, you can do that same thing, right? In the beginning, maybe think of how you're going to do the introduction. Grant, I don't know. Maybe do a pop there. Maybe soft. Just be clear. Every single note, what you're doing. I mean, every single note. Doesn't matter if it's like a boring part, because all parts should be like rememberable. So, why don't you play some more wherever you ended. Aaron says he likes the 15-second rule. I agree. I like it too. It also a boost of oxygen to our brain. Yeah, when you breathe, right? Because when you're nervous, you kind of tense up, and that your diaphragm doesn't have that room to breathe, and so that's very true, Daniel. We lose that oxygen to our brain and our muscles, and that's a good point. I'm gonna remember that. Thanks, Daniel. So why don't you play some more, Nick, and then maybe we'll go to one more from wherever you stop. Bum ba da 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 bum 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 bum. Somewhere around there you stop and just go on. Great, thanks, Nick. So when you began that part, dum dum bum 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 bee, bum 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 bee, they all sounded the same.
Yeah.
It all sounded very aggressive, and I don't know if you guys were looking at me when I was reacting to it, but I was just like, okay, oh, whoa, that's a lot. They say too much of anything, it's never good, but it really depends. It depends on what it is. But in this case, I think too much aggressive emotions. I don't know. That was just me. I was just like, oh, okay. I hope I can hear some contrast. Bum, 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 dee, da, dee. Maybe like maybe more softer for second time, and then the last time, bum 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 bum. Beep. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, man, it's great. I just watch out for the rhythm because if I'm hearing the orchestra accompaniment, and I feel like it's going to be sort of hard for them to follow you. So as long as you're doing everything within the confines of time of the piece, I think it'll be great. So, thanks, Nick. I really appreciate your hard work and your willingness to hear me rant and rave about emotions and all that kind of stuff and playing. So we're going a little overtime. I mean, I can do one more. I'm fine. Aaron says, nice playing, Nick. I agree. It was great. Anybody else? Daniel?
If we have a few more minutes, I can play a bit Bach, or I can show you the Moroccan bass. Whatever you feel like.
That's a hard one, man.
But actually,
Logan has to leave for another lesson. So, hey, thanks, Logan, for coming. I appreciate you coming to a lesson before a lesson. That makes me feel good. That must be worth seeing. So, appreciate it, man. Have a good lesson. Let's hear the Bach, because that's what we're here for, to hear double bass. Maybe next time we can jam out on some Moroccan bass. So what?
This is the prelude from the second D minor.
Oh, great. Oh, I love this one. I love this one. stop there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I had a few technical things, or actually one thing. Actually, I'll just leave you with one. There, you did some kind of slide in the beginning. Stylistically, I can see some Bach experts, pedagogues, not accepting that, and I think it'll sound better if the shift is clean. At some of those parts where there's like a slide, you know.
I'm aware of it, and sometimes I also doesn't pass my own jury. But
yeah. Okay. Good. So I don't need to really talk about that. That's just something.
But I mean, there. I think there. I mean, I'm less. I'm now after studies, and I mean, I agree with you specifically, but also I don't limit myself in some of these things. I mean,
I just need to be sold.
I mean,
I just need to be sold, Daniel.
That I think that is important to keep some of these things free, but for that in particularly is I agree, it's not so nice.
Yeah, no. I just as long as I'm sold on the idea, it just kind of stuck out to me. If you can make it work, you can make it work. I'm just from my observation when I was checking in with the gut, I was just like, oh, interesting. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. I'll just give you my honest feedback. So this is a great example of I really like this movement. If I were a conservatory teacher, how would I work on this one? I would have my student, theoretically, if I had students at a conservatory, come in and just work on maybe 4 bars or 5 bars at a time, maybe more, until every snippet of each bar is mastered. So I think, Daniel, a good thing for you, and I know you come from, you're a very intellectual guy, but I think what'll be nice and helpful is if you just focused on a certain amount of measures and really master these measures to the best of your ability, and then move on to the next section, and then the next section. So for the Bach and the Prelude, here's some ideas. Here's something to think about, really. For me, I imagine, and this is just my imagination, is playing kind of cliche, but at a church, playing in a church and hearing all of these vibrations. Grow. There was a lot going on there, but the main idea I was trying to convey was all of these church feelings and all of these spirits and emotions. And then the second part, and then the third part, it sounds like crying, man. This part, and I do a little slide there. But when I'm trying to emote, it's like a cry, a sorrow. You know?
My slide
So what do you think about that, Daniel?
you can put in the slides and with good taste. That is the,
Yeah, it can work. You can do anything that your heart desires.
for that effect is it's helpful, but from what I'm also, it also comes from technical problems actually, and that is
Absolutely.
I would like to work on.
Which is why I'm wondering, like, you have so many ideas. I'm wondering if you just focus on those 4 bars at a time for like 3. I'm not even joking, man. 3 days of just 4 bars.
Yeah.
You know, and then like you really master, you know. Yeah. You have so many ideas, Dan, and I think you understand fully what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
So I think the technical stuff is what's really, like you said.
Some basics things, because I started to play late. Some basic things there. I told you I have some holes, and that is in some sense stopping me from reaching some things. Some habits, some things that actually I didn't do. Also, I had to skip some things in my way. This is my story.
Awesome, man. Let me just say another part. I feel like a lot of people miss this part with the climax. I haven't played this in like 5 or 6 years, but this part here, I tend to do something a little different here. I tend to do vibrato. Ooh, I know, right? But there's a reason to really sound like someone screaming. You know? And I put a space there. You know when you just lost it?
Yeah.
That's the kind of effect, you know, and that's another thing I'm trying to demonstrate with, you know, everything I say here. It's really conveying that emotion. Did you guys hear that contrast with that end? And then that space. What I'm doing is I'm waiting for those emotions to clear in the mind. I'm really putting myself in the audience's shoes, and I'm feeling what they're feeling. So let's hope this isn't the case, but typically when someone screams at you, what happens is your emotions and blood pressure, you get all stirred up, and it's like, and you're like, and then once someone makes their final point, it's like maybe they're saying like, I hate you, or something like that. I hate you, and then you're just like, and then they leave the room, and then you're just like, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to simulate that environment. I'm trying to put people in this environment of anxiety, and then I don't want them to leave the concert anxious, right? I don't want to do that. I want to, what I'm doing is I'm moderating the I'm being very attentive to how people are feeling. So everybody's stirred up, and now I'll wait for like 5 seconds. Everything else is just like low. I'm trying to take that blood pressure down. It's crazy, man. It's like magic. You're like a magician. You're doing all these things to people's emotions. It's like illegal. It's like so wrong, but that's what people go to concerts for. It's to be manipulated. As crazy as it sounds, I'm trying to manipulate you, your emotions. I'm trying to make you feel it, but I want to take you back into a state where you're happy again. So the ending has this nice chord that Bach put in. This open minor chord. Instead of this, right, good thing he didn't put that. He's trying to take people back into a normal state like in the beginning. So music is more than just notes on a page. It's stirring up emotions and all this stuff. So I think I'll end this here. Any final thoughts before I do this giveaway of rosin? Anybody? What you looking at, Daniel? He's gone.
Bypasser.
Oh. All right. So you all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So for anybody who wants free pops rosin, send me a private. So in the chat. Oh, Giselle, I could actually. It might take a while because I need to work that one up. I'm more familiar with the first cello suite, but the second, I can do a few movements maybe, but I haven't actually. That's one of the suites I haven't really performed a lot, so I don't feel that comfortable performing it all the way through perfectly. So, but I could. Yeah, that could be something. Let's see. I think there's a way to send private messages here. It's private message me your email if you want to participate in a free Pops Rosin giveaway. Now, there's 12 people here. So there's a good chance, actually. In last class, there was like 40 people. So, but this one is smaller, so. So we have Black Ops. Call of Duty. All right, got some Call of Duty emails. Okay, so I'll put Giselle's email. Just make sure to type the email out so I know what it is. Giselle, Aaron, Jordan, the No Repeats project. Awesome, man. Doing projects. I think I saw something about it on Facebook. Vic Pistorius. This guy says he's more of a Carlson guy. You know what, man? You know what? That's cool, man. That's good. That works. Aaron's like, I'm more of a free rosin guy. Yeah, man. All right. I think that's it. I'll make sure to do a little a random. Put all the emails in a random generating thing, whatever, to make sure. What is the Pops thing, man? Pops? You mean Pops rosin? It's a very sticky rosin that people use to get a good pop. See what I did there? Okay, so for the next class, what do you guys think? I'm hearing from Giselle that she wants a Bach Cello Suite number 2 class. Any other suggestions? I was thinking of doing a class on how to write a lot of these etudes that I'm doing very easily. So if you want to make your own piece, like what's kind of the format I follow to do that very quickly. And Heldenleben class, that is something I could do an orchestral excerpt. That is something I'm familiar because of Howard Robinson. He was a very big orchestral guy, and that's basically all I did in Curtis with Howe was orchestral excerpts. Yeah, I can do excerpts. Heldenleben, Mozart 39, Mozart 45. Let's see what else. Beethoven 5. Beethoven 9. Brahms 2. Is that the one that goes dum bum 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 bum? I'm getting orchestral post-traumatic stress disorder now. from all those mock auditions. I used to, when I was little, like in 18, 19, Joe Conyers, who's a Philadelphia orchestra guy, used to come in and do mock auditions with Hal, and I had to come in with the big lists. That big list. Otello? Is that the solo that's bum 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 bing bing ba, da, 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 da.
That's Peter Grimes.
Ah,
Otello is the Soli. Dee 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 beep ba ba beep ba ba.
gotcha. So yeah, I could do an orchestral class next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I've done most of these in my mock auditions. Yeah, these mock auditions, man. Okay, Aaron says, fun fact, Stravinsky stole the theme for the Vivo from a Baroque composer by the name of Pergolesi. I've never heard of that before. I don't know who Pergolesi is, and what theme are you talking about, Aaron? So the theme, give me from Otello? All right, so
Talking about the Pulcinella.
oh, okay, awesome. Steal from the best. It's the best thing. Yeah, I steal from people all the time in my etudes, and I just put my own spin on it. So that's definitely a thing that composers do. So I'll end this here. I'll make sure to email the winner of the rosin giveaway, and if you have any suggestions for specific etudes you want to cover, just send me an email. I think you know what that email is, but I'll type it here. Xavier at iPlayBass.com. And I am private messaging Daniel that. Sorry, everyone. Sorry. All right, thanks everybody. Bye, Aaron. Bye, Jordan. Bye, Daniel. Bye, Giselle. Logan Lee. Julio. Michael. Nicholas, thanks for playing. Rigonal, thanks. Skip Word, thank you. And Vic Kostorius, thanks so much for coming. And yes, thank you, Julio. See you next time. All right, take care, everybody.